I'm James Wilkinson. I'm the CEO at American College Health Association. We're a 100-year-old professional society based in Silver Spring, Maryland. We are the voice of and the recognized experts in college health and wellness. So if you think back to your college days, there's usually a health center. You got your mental health counseling center and all kinds of health promotion activities to be proactive about health and good diet, exercise, and those kind of things. And so we involve a lot of health faculty in those. And there's a layer of administrators who kind of coordinate the activities between all those three buckets. We've got a remote workforce, most in the District of Maryland and Virginia area, but there are a couple other truly remote, Florida, Massachusetts, Colorado. And so with that disparate workforce, we need a solution that can be also remote, that can help people with IT problems quickly and efficiently so that we get back to serving our members, because we've got a national base of members, about 11,000 individuals that we need to serve. So when something goes wrong with IT, we need it fixed quickly. The other thing that we really stepped up on is on security training with using the PHI Protect training sessions and making sure that staff are aware of how phishing works and how to use passwords and a password manager. And just really being, it's brought a level of consciousness around cybersecurity that we didn't have before. We are American College Health Association. Our members, they deal with HIPAA. The people out in the field and at the counseling centers and the health clinics on campus, they're the ones with the HIPAA data. We don't really have any HIPAA data. What we have is a lot of sensitive data around schools and their student usage rates and their experiences, as well as institutional confidential information. So it's like confidential and sensitive information that we house, and so we need to be aware of that and how we operate it. So we've got specifically a huge data warehouse project ongoing. So we're pouring in reams of data into a centralized data warehouse, and so while we've got other partners working on that, it's all under our Microsoft Azure tenant, which is actually maintained by Nova, and so they've been kind of brought into that orbit and are helping us make sure that we've got the security levels we need so that our members have confidence that although their data is part of the data warehouse, that it can't be disaggregated and then somehow bad players use it against them. One of the other great things is when I first came on with Dan, he was very excited. Someone could come in and grab a database and hold it hostage. So we've got a total duplicate copy elsewhere. So that if there is a cyber ransom kind of attack, we just say shove it, because we've got a duplicate already. We've already outthought it. So those are the kind of pieces that give me peace of mind. No one can grab our data, and that our staff are well versed in the latest scams and phishing kind of strategies that bad players are using. It's got the whole dark web piece where people can look at their personal emails and see if their own personal emails are out there and how to use password phrases. I mean, I could go on and on, but for me, it's a lot of me in terms of my role as the senior risk manager for the entire organization. How do we get there? And that's through ongoing training. For me, it's, like I said, it's about risk mitigation, and I see that as a tremendous risk because you're constantly communicating through multiple modes, right? Whether it's your text, your personal phone, Slack, in the Box environment or Microsoft 365. I mean, there's so many avenues with the web. It's both a blessing and a curse. And so that gives me peace of mind is people know and understand the risks. They know and understand what is the difference between HIPAA data, confidential data, sensitive data, trade secrets. I mean, all of these things. If you don't train and keep up on the training, you're just opening the door potentially down the road for problems. So, in fact, we've had to take out, and I think all associations have had to take out the cybersecurity insurance. And so this has really helped with that, because I said, well, wait, we've got a whole program because my staff are on top of it, and it's an ongoing program. It's not just a one-time training. We know what we're doing, so you can lower my premium a little bit because A, we know what we're doing. B, we got the redundancy I talked about. So the whole system's, because it's redundant, my risk is much, much lower than maybe another association who hasn't even thought about it. Normally, it's you get the ticket and you send it in. Once we figured out the process and got them into the process, then it became smoother. Our client success account person is Morgan, and she's always very responsive, very patient with people with many different levels of familiarity and comfort level with technology. So it's what I also like is that it's no distinction between the hardware support and the software support, which sometimes you get. So they would help you with an Outlook and problem. I just want to do X, Y, or Z. I want to make it do what I want it to do. And also I need a laptop set up, and also I need another laptop refurbished. And, and we can, not to throw it all in the same ticket, but there's just running it all through our client success person. We know that it's going to get addressed. Yeah, Nova's been a steady partner, and I've only been here a little over 2 years, but a steady, reliable partner. And sometimes what seems to be a little problem is when there's a little digging on the Nova end, it's found to be a bigger problem. So we like that they take that holistic approach and not just look at the little problem, but what's going on behind the scenes that caused it. There's the symptom, and fix the symptom doesn't stop the underlying problem. And so I can rely on them to look at the underlying problem. Yeah, it might take a little longer to get the symptom fixed, and that can cause a little frustration, but at the same time, you got to fix the systemic problem and looking at these things systemically. Any CEO who doesn't understand the importance of cybersecurity is really risking their own job, because everybody, I have no any workplace, let alone associations, that's not connected through the web. And therefore, you're open. It's both the blessing and the curse of the web. You're open to the world. You're connected. You can get things done. Productivity, all these things are wonderful, but it's also an exposure element. So you have to understand where the risks are, how the risks are introduced, and where your vulnerabilities are, and what your main digital assets are that are at risk. So luckily for us, it's pretty simple. It's a membership database, because we don't store things like credit card number or HIPAA information. So we've got ours pretty well cut and defined, and through redundancy, we're able to solve that problem, I think. Now, arguably, staff could come to me with other thoughts on this. The data warehouse springs to mind. That's another issue, but we were locking down a lot of controls on that one. So I guess that's my short story long, is like, identify what it is that you've got. What are your assets? Because that's what they're coming for. How do you protect them? How do you train your staff to help them protect them? Now, we've got another odd thing, not necessarily odd, but we've got because we're a nationwide society with professionals in all 50 states and some Canada, some worldwide, and they need that worldwide access too. So you've gotten a lot of players with access to things like the website and the member portal. They've got to log in. Not too much there that they can really do harm with, but when we set up new systems, like we're doing a new website this year, we got to be really smart about what stays behind the member wall and what's the admin wall, because that's going to touch the pay stuff, right? And so there's layers upon layers, and that's where you got a good vendor like Nova, who can help translate for employees when they're hearing from the web vendor. Nova's shown me an ability to work with a lot of different vendors, because it's never all just one vendor. There's just too many software systems out there. And so they're able to be malleable enough and learn. I guess that's a good word for it. A learning organization where Morgan or whoever can ramp up real quick and figure out what data bridges are needed, what security features are need to be enabled to make it work. So the whole system works outside of just Nova's context, which is just the laptops and the hardware software kind of thing. Making sure our entire suite of enterprise is actually protected. They're pretty good, really good actually, at being nimble and learning to make it all work.